Hello there, my name is Bonnie Violet, and in case you don't know where you are, this is Dragon Spirituality.
I want to take a moment to say thank you for joining us tonight. I'm really excited. This is our third interview thus far. Tonight we'll be interviewing Linda Summers, just to give you a little bit of an overview of what to expect. Dragon Spirituality is a series in which we're interviewing 12 Bay Area drag artists to talk about drag and spirituality with the idea of integration and oneness. A lot of the times, drag is thought to be opposite of spiritual. And for many folks, including myself, at times I feel like I have to fragment parts of myself to do this thing over here and another part to do this thing over there. And this is a moment for us to exist both in drag and in our spiritual selves as well, and express it and talk about it at the same time. Our guest tonight is Linda Summers. Linda was born and raised in California as Angel. Angel is a first-generation Guatemalan. Being young, gay, and a person of color, he had to overcome his fear of being rejected or not being good enough. If he chose to embrace all parts of himself, good and bad, and it sure didn't help when they became born-again Christian in 2016. Since then, he has reclaimed his identity and has worked hard to accept that God loves him the way he is, and that it takes faith to overcome any obstacles. Faith that he found in the recovery community. Along with faith, he discovered his alter ego, Linda Summers, who has helped him share his painful and most beautiful experience in drag with the San Francisco community as a form of healing. Linda, welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here.
How's it going? You look fabulous.
Thank you. So do you. Look at you.
I love that hair. So first of all, thank you for being here tonight. And I thought we would start from the beginning, so to speak. So I'd love to hear a little bit about Angel. What was Angel like growing up?
Well, Angel was a troubled kid. Ever since high school, he was just drawn to being a rebel. You know, he didn't like to follow rules and was just like a little troublemaker. And he also just like had a hard time embracing who he was because he didn't have the nurturing love that he needed to feel confident in himself. And so right after high school, he just started working and was so determined to explore his sexuality and his gender expression. And he discovered makeup and was an effeminate gay boy working in retail shops. And it was just like an amazing experience. But deep down, he was also just struggling with just feeling like he was just never good enough and not knowing how to ask for help, you know. And so that's just a little bit about who Angel was before he became a born-again Christian.
All right. And where did you go to high school, or where did you grow up?
So I was born in Los Angeles, but moved up to Marin in San Rafael when I was like, I want to say like around 10. And I just grew up there. I went to high school at San Rafael High. And yeah, so most of my life I was in San Rafael.
Gotcha. And you had mentioned that after high school, you kind of like got in. I guess where did spirituality or religion or was that in your life at all when you were younger?
I did not grow up going to church. My parents were not really about going to church. I lived with my dad, and he wasn't really religious. We went to Catholic church here and there, maybe like twice a year for special events. But we never really practiced anything. There was no praying for anything. And so, but deep down since a kid, I always wanted to know what it means to have a relationship with God. So it was something that I wanted in my life. Like I wanted to know who God was. And I tried going to different churches. I tried going to Christianity. I even checked out some Catholicism and Pentecostal. And it just never really made me feel welcomed. And it wasn't until maybe in 2016 when I found a group of young disciples, and I saw something that I really wanted. And so I eventually started studying the Bible, and I started to take what it means to have a relationship with God very seriously.
Got you. And so prior to that, you hadn't been able to really find community, as in like queer community or as spirituality community, or?
Just in general, community. I mean, like I said, I was a troubled kid. I struggled with drugs and alcohol since since my teen years. So I had a hard time trusting people, and I had a hard time keeping people around me, because I think people didn't really want to be around that, to be honest. I mean, I think people really focused in school. They just weren't really part of it. And the people who were part of my small circle, I just, there was always something missing. And so, yeah.
Okay, so then when you met the disciples and you started studying the Bible, how were they with you, or with your? I mean, had you been doing drag then? You mentioned, like, was your sexual orientation? How did that play out in that sort of dynamic?
I was really heavy into using drugs, and my sister came back from her college camp, school, and she pretty much asked me to join her, to hang out with her one day. And she took me to this place where they were all hanging out at, because she was already a disciple herself. And I remember going in there in high heels. I had my face beat. I had this really cute crop top. And at first I was really skeptical, because as soon as I realized that it wasn't just like no ordinary hangout. I mean, who starts a whole like event with a prayer and a little quick lesson of who the Bible, what the Bible offers and who God is, And from the beginning, I was just like, oh, what is this? They're going to judge me. They're going to, start looking at me. I mean, I really felt like they were looking at me, but it was all in my head. They were not judgmental whatsoever. They were so welcoming and so friendly that that's what I think really intrigued me, and it made me want to come go there more often because of that. They weren't so I guess judgmental at first. Right. So
they seemed to accept you. You said, sound like you said they accepted you, but were you having a hard time trusting that they were, or?
I think there came a point during the Bible studies that I learned that I couldn't really embrace my sexuality if I wanted to have a relationship with God. And because I had really low self-esteem, I really wanted to be accepted. And if that meant me putting my, makeup away and all the boys away, then sure, let me do that. If I have to put the drugs away, I'll do it. Because, I was already miserable in a way, I was already sad. I was really lacking connection. So to me, I was just like, okay, sure. I don't see the issue here. Like, if it means that I'll be accepted and I'll have a community, then this is the way to go, I guess, and little did I know it wasn't going to work out the way I wanted it to.
I was going to say, yeah, how long did it go?
I was with them for about 9 months. I repented and I got baptized and I started living this life as a disciple. And it was really great. I got to really connect with people in that community or in that group. But like I said, there was always something like missing. I think when it comes to like activities, all the boys, all the guys, they're all into sports. And I really wanted to be in drag. I really wanted to like talk about drag. And I really wanted to talk about, just the queer life, because that was something that I was really into, right? Before meeting them. And it was just really hard for me to get into the things that they were into, because I think they were just, I don't know, we were different, of course. And that's when I realized that maybe this wasn't the right group for me to be in, because when I will mention the things that I wanted to talk about, it was as if like I wasn't supposed to talk about it, and it really was hard for me to hide those, hide, I guess, that big part of myself, which is that I'm this young queer, gay guy who is into things that are kind of not normal, right? I suppose.
Not normal in that particular community, huh?
Yeah.
So after 9 months, what'd you do once you kind of left that group?
After I left that group, I decided to, so of course, I think there came a point where I kept like messing up. I kept making mistakes, and I think they wanted to help me. And they were willing to help me. It's just that I wasn't willing to accept their help then. And so when I left, I just kept on doing what I did best, which was I picked up drugs and I used alcohol to cope with how I was feeling. Because at the end of the day, how I was feeling was really, it was really preventing me from like pursuing anything else in life, whether that was in school or even like a career. Like I was just really devastated. I think when I left that group, I just kept on doing what I was doing before I even met them.
Right. So kind of got more into drinking or drugs and partying or whatever. Had you been doing drag yet, or?
I have not actually. Like I said, I think before meeting this group of disciples, I was no stranger to makeup. I was no stranger to feminine clothing and dressing up and being cute or being fashion fabulous. And so I had not discovered drag at all. Actually, it wasn't until last year when I got sober again, or when I tried to get sober. This time, seriously, when I finally discovered drag.
Yeah. So yeah. So you said you started drag about a year ago, and then I guess what got you into recovery? What does recovery mean to you? Like, what does that look like?
I got into recovery for one reason only. My drug dealer didn't have any more drugs on him, and he was losing everything. Right? I'm kidding. No, I really the what really intrigued me, or what really brought my interest, was that or what got me interested is that I met this boy who was around my age, and he mentioned that he also had a problem with crystal meth, and that he had 3 months of sobriety, and that really like sparked an interest. And I asked how he was doing it, and that's when he mentioned the 12-step recovery community. And I realized, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I need to like check this out. And by doing so, by going to the main or by going to the place where many sober people meet up in the Castro, I got to meet some really great individuals like you and some other folks. And so that made me feel welcome, because just seeing you lead an example, or like set an example, just embracing who you are with no F's given, or like it really, that's I think what really brought me to the rooms, and what kept me in the rooms is because I saw people like you embrace themselves, and it was just really amazing.
Fantastic. I'm like kind of like I didn't even know that was all happening. I guess for me, I've only been doing drag 3 years, so I feel like I've been in a similar spot of just like trying to figure out, can I be sober? Can I be spiritual? Can I be in drag? Can I can I do all these things, I guess sober and as I am. And so I don't know, I guess I've just been trying as well. And there were people who came before me that I got to see, like Mini Happy Returns and MGM and Pollo de Mar, who will get to meet in a couple more interviews, were all folks that kind of, paved the way for me as well. And I'm sure you've done that for folks too. Why don't we go ahead and take a second, and we'll go ahead and watch Linda Summers in action. So we'll go ahead and turn off our cameras and unmute. And Perry, if you'll play the video. Yes, that was fantastic. That surprised me. I just like, when I think of you, I don't think of that type of music. So I'm excited to hear a bit about, like, tell me a little bit about that number. What inspired it?
So I actually did this number back in October for the Mascara show, and what that really represented to me was that I just love how this song is just really about like expressing what the other person has done to you, and just really like just letting everything go. And I just think that this song, like I said, as someone who got baptized and started living a life as a disciple, I mean, God, that experience took a lot from me, and I think that it still affects me to this day. And I didn't realize that how much it affects me until I did my fourth step, until I started working the steps. And even before the pandemic, or even during the pandemic, I was really struggling with the whole idea of like whether or not it's okay to do drag, if whether or not it's even okay for me to like be spiritual, because for me, I was really trying to treat both things like they can coexist, and the reality is they can coexist. And I think the song just really helps me like showcase the anger that I get to feel sometimes when I think about spirituality, and when I think about who Linda and who Angel is, as one, right? And so I think that's what really inspired me. The song, I mean, from just even with the whole like doll, like it's not even a baby, it's a doll. And I think for me, that doll just really represented my childhood, or just in general, like my past, like this whole idea of like, let's go ahead and like, treat, let's fuck it up, and it's just like, I don't know. I just really love this song. It's always going to mean like it's always going to have a special place in my heart. Like I said, this song was just really about me expressing like what I've been going through in the last 4 months, which is that I've been really like struggling. And when I work the steps, I actually get to heal, and I get to actually like have a voice, and yeah.
Yeah, I can really identify with that, and it's a very provocative number. So, a question: so, are you as a nun? Are you representing religion kind of on you as a child, or is it more of a
No, it's a reference to those 9 months of when I was a disciple,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think that it just I chose to have like different like natural backgrounds. Like, they're supposed to represent like the 4 seasons. Like it's like a whole 1 year like process, right? Like it's just not just one period of the year. It's like it's always like a daily struggle. And I just think that I forget your question.
Oh no, that was good. I was just asking about a little bit more explanation. So you definitely brought that. I thank you for just sharing so much about it, because I didn't necessarily like, I see all that now, that I maybe didn't notice the first go around. It's such a great video. Thank you for sharing it with us today.
Yeah.
I wanted to go ahead and like, if you have any questions for Linda, go ahead and just put them in the Facebook comments, and then we'll bring them up here in a little bit. But I wanted to ask a little bit about, so what does your spirituality look like today?
For me, spirituality means me not trying to have a outside world experience. That really just means not using any substances or any mind altering like substances, I suppose. And for me, spirituality just means knowing that there's a power greater than myself, and that I don't always have to do things alone. I think that for so many years, I was so spiritual bankrupt, because I kept trying to do everything on my own. I kept thinking that the only person I can depend on and rely on is only me. And the reality is, I mean, sure, I can be independent, but at the same time, it does take a village to get through life. I believe, and for me, spirituality now just means just, I guess, knowing that I do have a choice, and I can choose not to look at things like in black and white, right? And I can choose to live a life where I know that I can just be myself, and help others get to that point as well. And just being accepting and not judgmental in any way. And I think that's, for me, what really sums up spirituality. It's just really integrating who you are, and also knowing that there is this power that's greater than you that can help you get to that point, right? And for me, it's just really about like staying connected to this God that I know, and knowing that I can always come to Him if I ever need help.
Yeah, it sounds like you've found that community that you spoke of earlier that you were trying to find, in which you could like be in drag as well as being spiritual all at once. I'm excited to get to be a part of that. I was gonna ask, what is your favorite thing about drag? What do you enjoy about drag?
What I love about drag is that I get to feel beautiful for the night, or for the day. I get to make others smile, and I get to use my drag to tell stories, stories that I feel like I have a hard time putting into words. And I love using my platform just to really showcase that it is okay to embrace that bad side of inside of yourself, and not be ashamed of it. And I just think that for me, that's what drag is. I get to use drag to find myself and to connect, and I just really enjoy. I love the fact that I got to meet you. I love the fact that I got to meet other drag queens in the recovery community. I just, because I saw strength, I saw determination, I saw perseverance, right? And it's so amazing. And I think when I first saw that, like, I never thought that I could ever do that myself. I just didn't believe I did not believe in myself at all. But if it wasn't for you, and to anyone else who has come into my life, I don't think that I will ever like found my alter ego. And I think just for me, drag is just really about like just about, I guess, community for sure.
Yeah. I think very highly of you too. I'm glad that you came into my life. I feel like you're one of my like closest friends. So Cass Brayton has a question. Was there any acceptance of your queerness from individual friends in the disciples? Were there some individuals that accepted your queerness when you were part of the disciples?
No, there was really no one. I mean, there were a couple, but they were so, it was mostly all all the girls in the group. They saw it. They saw it, and they try to they try to make me as comfortable as they can. But ultimately, I don't think I ever could talk to anyone. I never had that friend who I could talk to about my queerness at all. So no.
Gotcha. Nancy J asks, what do you feel is most needed for allies, for people that can support people like you and I?
What is the most important thing people can do?
What do you feel is most needed from allies?
I think what's most needed from allies is understanding and patience. I think that when queer folks are rediscovering or discovering who they are, they can do it in ways that may not make any sense to those who are not in that same process, right? And I think that allies need to just be patient, and they need to show love, and be accepting that everyone has their own way of discovering who they are. And if they ever come across as obnoxious or too much, just know that they're really trying to find that point where they can just be comfortable with themselves. I've seen it many times, where like I've always gotten like dismissed or disregarded, because when I was trying to figure out who I was as a person, especially as a queer,
like
guy.
taking you serious, like people weren't taking you seriously.
people weren't taking me seriously. They didn't want to, understand like what was going on, which is totally fine. I think it makes sense. Like, who wants to? I mean, how do you, like, how do you make sense out of it, right? But so I think I think what I would like to see more often is just for allies to just be more patient with those who are queer,
Right.
for coming out.
Yeah, and that really speaks to a lot of why, kind of like why I wanted to do something like this is like I feel like just to see that we're human, that we have like to see our humanity, to see that we're spiritual creatures, we're flawed, we're complicated, we're not all the same. I feel like that we're not just like something pretty to look at or something fun to play with or to go out and kiki with, which is all cute and great. And like, that I believe that's like, I believe that's I believe that's spiritual shit. I think when you can do anything that lifts the spirit of others, that's spirituality. And to me, drag has always done that for our community. So I think that there's a place for that. And there's more to us as well. Like just to kind of see that we're human, Cass is asking another question or maybe a comment. In my experience, the more I did drag, the more my drag persona became integrated with my non-drag personality. Do you experience anything similar?
So what was the last part? Sorry.
Yeah. Does your drag persona become integrated with your non-drag like personality? Like for me, I know that my lines become blurred. I think as a trans femme person, like I feel like being in drag and me being me is not that different. Or like in some ways, I felt like me doing drag actually pulled me out into like I think a fuller expression and truer expression of who I am outside of drag, which is a more feminine like creature, a trans femme, person. So I feel like drag does that, and the more I do it, for me, it's really important that it's integrated. Now that's why recently I changed my name to Bonnie Violet. So like my name is Bonnie Violet, my drag name is Bonnie Violet. Like for me, it was important that like I become more integrated. Have you had that experience or does it feel like it's separate? Linda and Angel.
Linda and Angel are two different things are two different things for sure. At least for now. I'm still working on like figuring out both be together or if they can coexist. But I do believe that Angel and Linda, they both have similar, I guess, qualities, and they share something. Yes, so I don't think that my drag persona is, if it's like anything like Angel outside,
Yeah.
I don't know if I answered.
No, you totally answered the question. For like it's just like with anything else. Like one like a drag experience for one person isn't the same for the other. And it sounds like for you right now, Angel's Angel, Linda's Linda. They like each other, but they're different. There's not kind of that mixture. Is that what you're saying? That was my understanding. Yeah, gotcha. All right. What have you found to be one of the, I guess, what don't you like about drag? What's a drag about drag, I guess?
What I don't like about drag is that there's always, for me, that I have to be better than last time. And if I don't achieve that, then that means that I'm really not good enough. And I just think that it's because, like I said, I spent so many years like self-medicating that I have never really ever done anything, any activities, any hobbies, any sports. And for me, so this is something new, and I really get into my head at times. And I take my drag very seriously, but I have to remember that like it's a learning experience. I'll grow as I continue to do it, and that the life is not the life is a marathon, not a race. And so for me, I think that's one thing I don't like about drag is that I look at the high standards that are now mainstream. Like, you know, you have to have this beautiful body, you have to have this expensive stuff and bigger hair, you know, really, you know. And I just, I mean, I think it's great. I mean, I think it does make drag be good drag, right? But I just think that for me, especially because I am new to this, right, that I should take it slow, and I should be kinder to myself. I think that's one thing I don't like about drag, I suppose. It's just that I start to take it too seriously, and I have to remember that this is about me having fun and me like living a better spiritual experience.
And how are you, I guess, how are you able to, I know you said you're just kind of figuring it out, but do you have a way of like doing that now? Like, do you have a way of kind of reminding yourself or people or situations that kind of remind you to kind of like just have fun?
I think that's what I enjoy about being part of a drag family is that in being in a family, I get to, when I do express like the things that didn't go right, like I have people who remind me that the things that did go well, and they just remind me that that I have to be kinder to myself. And I think at first that was very constantly or constant. So now when I'm on myself, even like this week when I was recording that performance, like I wanted to get in my head about things. I wanted to be like, oh my gosh, this wasn't perfect, this wasn't good, this shot wasn't great. But then I have all those voices from my, that tell me, oh Angel, like look at the things you did, do well, and let's be kind to yourself. So I think it's just I guess that's how I kind of get out of my head, and it's just I just kind of remember all those great encouraging words that I get to that I've received from my family.
And can you tell us a little bit more, like for folks who maybe aren't aware of what a drag family is? Can you talk a little bit about what a drag family looks like or what it's made up of?
For me, at least the drag family that I'm a part of, what it looks like is we're a bunch of different individuals who share one common thing, which is a love and passion for drag and creativity. And for me, I think family is just, or drag family is just really about being there for each other and supporting each other and helping each other grow. And I think that in my experience so far, it's just been really great to know that I can always reach out to anyone when I'm ever struggling, especially when it comes to my art. I think that having a family really does make things a lot easier. It makes you not feel like you're alone, with your struggle.
And do you have a family of like just all like brothers and sisters and siblings, or do you have like parents and like children and all that fun, grandparents? I don't know.
All I know is that I have a drag mother and a drag father, and they're both cis women. And I think your question was, yeah. So I think we're all different genders and different sexual. We have sexual orientation, and yeah. Like I said, I all I know is like maybe my drag parents and then my drag siblings. And
Got you. And it's very similar, like a family dynamics. Are your mom and father, are they kind of like mentors to you? Do they teach you things? Do they support you, or is it more of just, I don't know, like peers?
There are definitely mentors to me. At least for sure, my drag mother, like she has supported me in so many different ways. Like she helps me with like editing videos, and like even when it comes to like me running an idea by her, like she like kind of helps me bounce back ideas, and she helps me kind of have a clear message or vision. And so it is. So it is a good thing to have. It's just to know that I have any mentor who can help me grow as an artist.
Fantastic. Another question from the audience says, how has COVID-19 impacted or shifted your way of being as Angel and or Linda Summers?
Before the pandemic, I was really busy. I was a student, I was an employee, I was a worker, and I was doing drag, and I was just really, I had a busy life and I had my recovery. And so when COVID happened, I stopped having a lot of those things that were keeping me busy. And I had more time to be with myself. And I realized that if there's one thing that I wasn't thinking about at all was this idea of like what it means to have a relationship with God. And so when I started to think about that, that's really when I started, thinking that the best thing for me to do was just to let go of who Linda was, because it wasn't meeting my spiritual beliefs, right, or my beliefs, and so it really affected Linda in ways where like I literally packed everything and put them in suitcases, and I was ready to throw it out. And I started talking to people about like how I wanted to get rid of Linda. And for Angel, like it was really confusing, right? Like I even started to like not like do things that were pleasurable to me. And so for Angel and Linda, I think they both, we both, I had a really hard time being with myself. And luckily, I was able to reach out for help, and I was able to finally talk about it and start sharing it with those around, with my close friends.
Mm-hmm. So eventually, you were able to kind of take Linda out of the box or the bags.
I remember sometime in May, it was like Ashley Madison's last show, and she helped me get started and it was just like I just wanted to be part of it. And I realized that I was really starting to think about this boy, and I had this song in mind. And once again, like Angel hates putting things into words, so that's where Linda comes in. Like Linda helps Angel like tell that story or share that experience, whatever is in his mind. And so so Linda came out and she did her thing, and
alive and well. So another question is, do you have a routine that you've settled into that has helped you stay on your sober path? And
I have a routine.
Yeah, and then like this, it's kind of a long question. If so, can you say what you have found that has benefited you the most?
It's really sponsorship. This idea that like I have this mentor, this guy, or this person that's guiding me through the steps, and the steps are really the thing that I think has really kept me like having a better way of living. It's allowed me to find freedom and forgiveness and kindness and acceptance. And so that is the one thing that I try to make sure that I am consistently doing is, it's just working. It's me working with a sponsor who is guiding me through the steps. I think it's like the one thing that's really been like helping me, or like that helps me keep a routine going on, going.
Okay. And so, so what would you say has benefited you the most with being sober? I think.
Oh, okay. What's benefited me the most is that I get to be Linda, that I get to embrace my creative mind, and I get to put things into action. And I think that when I'm putting things into action, or when I'm actually like putting my ideas out in in the real world, I think that's really when I get to live life and actually enjoy it and be happy. And so that's one thing I've benefited from recovery, is that I get to, bring this girl out, and I get to have fun and connect with others in ways that I couldn't ever imagine. Like, who knew that Linda can reach out to so many folks and can, help me stay connected, in moments when I was always afraid, moments when I didn't even know that I can even connect, right? Like, I think that's one thing that I benefit from, from staying sober, is that Linda gets to, be part of this.
Yeah, it sounds like that you're able, like you're like, I always say that I'm gradually becoming the person I always thought I was. And it sounds like that you're like letting more, like you're being able to let more in your, like you've been there all along, but it's like, now it feels like you're letting yourself out a little bit. So that was so fun. Yeah. So besides your drag family, who have been some of your biggest influencers in the drag world?
Who has been some of my biggest influencer in the drag
Outside of your family, yeah.
Influencers.
Like, I don't know, yeah, like pop icons, or like maybe celebrity queens, or maybe there's like somebody who's out, I don't know, somebody else who's outside of your family that's supportive.
I would like to maybe mention, let's see, any icons. That's kind of hard for me to answer.
I guess I'm part. A question that comes up for me too is Linda kind of like created after somebody? Is there some what makes Linda Linda?
Oh, I would like to say my mother. I mean, I owe it to my mother. Like, my mom died when I was like 7, and so the only memories I have is of her, of some of the pictures that I was able to get when I went to Guatemala. And I look at the pictures and I just see this beautiful woman who had really cute hairstyles and was very always like dressed and kind of like, I don't know, like, it's my mother for sure inspired who Linda is. I know when I first my first debut, or when I first did drag, I dedicated the song called "Como la Flor" by Selena to my mother, and I dedicated the song to her. It's because I feel like that night I really got to bring who I think my mother was and could have been if she were still alive today. So I think I owe my mom a lot of credit for who Linda is today, who I think could have been,
Yeah, she's beautiful. One of the things, so if folks were, what would you say to, like, I guess, baby drags or baby spirituals or people who are kind of just, I don't know, starting out? Do you have any advice or suggestions?
Practice, practice, practice. Be kind to yourself. Reach out, watch a lot of YouTube videos, memorize your songs. I mean, don't be afraid to go to a thrift shop or be an Amazon buyer. Like, I just think that for any baby queens, just ask yourself, like, what story are you trying to tell? Who are you trying to reach out to? And I think if you're able to find those answers, make them alive. Make them alive, and share it with those around, in your community. And yeah, I think that's what I would tell them.
Sounds like just do it, huh? Just do it and do it again and again and again.
Get messy, like, we all start somewhere, right? Like, we all start from the bottom, and it's just
right.
The more you do it, the better you'll get.
For sure. Is there any more questions out there tonight, guys? See if there's a few more questions. We're coming up around just a few more minutes. Actually, there is a funny question. You can only keep one: hair, makeup, or fashion. Which would you choose and why? That's a good question.
If I were, so yeah, say it again, please.
So if you can only keep one thing, so would you keep hair, makeup, or fashion, and why?
Makeup, because it really is that one thing that kind of brings everything together. I mean, you could have the most beautiful outfit, but I don't know. I think the face makeup is essential. You need the face to make it work. Fuck the hair, fuck the clothes, like keep your makeup, girl, and make it work.
It's fantastic. Was there anything else that you would like to share before we sign off? Is there anything that you would like to talk about?
I would like to just thank anyone who tuned in and who came to support us to have this conversation. I think that moving forward, I just really want to keep embracing who I am as a person and not be so hard. I think that I know some of you, it's been really hard for some of you, I think, to watch me kind of struggle with this idea that I can't be Linda and that I can't be spiritual at the same time. And I just want to just say thank you for still supporting me, and for it just really helps me know that like I can overcome anything as long as I have faith. And I think that with that, I just want to say thank you to anyone who is tuning in today.
Yeah, I can definitely I saw you back. I really appreciate you like talking about this, because I think I just really relate a lot with you, and kind of having this battle of like, how can I exist in both ways? And to me, like I like you, like the first time you did drag, and this is from my point of view, you were like amazing, and it was just like, this girl is like, she's a drag queen and she's got it. And then when I heard you start to say like, oh, I put Linda away, I was like, what? Like, what's that all about? And so I was definitely like, I don't know. I was definitely baffled by it, but I also knew it was like, it was your journey. It was your journey to figure out. And, so yeah, I'm glad that you were able to talk with me a little bit about that sort of stuff, and that you're willing to come and share today with all of us. Looks like another question came up from Matt. Matt Marquez? I should know how to say his name. But what, you know who I'm talking about though, right?
Girl Tower. Hey girl.
I don't know if we should out her as a drag queen or not, but what's your favorite performance memory?
My favorite performance memory is when I actually performed that song called Violet by Hole in Halloween, because I think it was the moment when when I created the image of flying boobs, and it was just so much fun. Like, I didn't know that when you wear silicone titties, like you have to really like strap them onto you, or else if you're like moving and dancing, like they're going to fall out eventually. And so for me, that was like the best memory, because I know when I was performing, like I got in my head about it. I was just like, oh my gosh, how embarrassing. But looking back at the videos, I see how fun it was. And it was so hilarious. It was just a wonderful moment for me. Just, I saw once again, Linda kind of take over and kind of just like embrace it and just have fun with it. And so I think that was one of the best memories I've ever had.
Yeah, I think it's definitely something that some people could have been mortified over, but you seem to embrace it. And next thing you know, you're like, your boobs were falling out in every performance, just a little bit different. Like, how are they going to fall out today? So it's definitely fun, and just adds a little levity to it all. Definitely something I could learn from. Is there any other questions for us tonight? If not, I think we're going to, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who showed up tonight. I know the show Mascara was brought up a couple of times tonight, and for those of you who aren't maybe aware of what it is, Mascara is a monthly drag show that it's for the sober community, and so it raises money for the Castro Country Club, which is a very vital, I guess, organization in helping queer folks in particular stay sober and get sober, and so. It happens once a month, and if you want to, like learn more about it, you can reach to me or Linda, and we can let you know about the show. You don't have to be sober to watch and all that fun stuff, but we'd love to have you join us sometime. I'm really saying goodbye this time. So goodbye and have a good night. Take care.
Bye.